Okay, welcome to another happy and exciting, wonderful, educational edition of Gem Collectors with Shawn. I am Shawn, and I'll tell you what, you never know. They count 3, 2, and as a host, you go on 2 at the point, because anyway, the timer works out that way. So, I'm talking about right before that, these guys are cracking me up, and they are commenting. I'm not even going to tell you what you're commenting about, but they're going to make it to where I'm self-conscious. I'm not going to be able to smile. I'm going to have to tilt my head up so you can't see the top of my head.
You got a religious thing at the top of your head.
Oh, man, there goes another bam. Next thing I know, they're going to have a symbol back there for every one of the zingers there. Awesome. No, you're not. But when people for 15 years or so, you can say stuff. Plus, remember, if you can picture gem shopping, there's hundreds of people that work here on the other floor. We're down in a little microcosm of sanity, actually, and away from everyone else. I don't know if that's intentional, maybe, because, take one look at me, according to the guys. And I joked. I said, where's the hairstylist? Says, I'm fumbling with my hair. Asa says she ran off when she saw you. Yeah. This is the encouragement I get right before I come on and say hello to all of you. And but then I can't laugh because, then I'm going to look like, well, I did live in East Tennessee, but, I'm not going to laugh. No. Let's see. What do we do here? I think we sell rocks, minerals, fossils, jewelry,
And moonshine.
and moonshine. Applejack. Right behind Helen, Georgia, there's a little road that goes through an old community, and I'm not going to pinpoint the road because there's only one community that lived there. They made the best Applejack, true moonshine, and when I can say true, it's because I was along this creek. It's actually known in the gold records that gold was found right in that vicinity. So I'm at the time when they still allowed 3-wheelers before they wiped out most of the population that drove them. I had a big 3-wheeler and was prospecting back on the old tailings. Amazing tailings. It was alluvial. And the name of the road is the name of the creek, so I won't, other than that, I'd tell you the name of it. So I was back there panning, and, every time you pan, you could easily find flake gold, small, but it was there. So I went a little further, deeper, and I came upon a real live working still, just like as if it was the way you imagined it to be. Copper coil pipe, and it was going, it was working. So I'm standing there, and I'm in the middle of nowhere, and I said to myself, this still is active right now. There's a fire burning under it right now. And then I said to myself, and I am being watched right now. I turned around, got back on my 3-wheeler, and got out of there. Only less than 3 weeks later, on the course for the county, it made front page news of their local, newspaper, I guess you call it, that a still was busted back off of this creek. And so obviously it was that one. I just hope that they didn't think it was me that ratted anyone out, because I sure didn't. And, it was like, wow, am I really seeing what I was seeing? And I was. But that was the place to get it. So you know what it told me? It told me that the Applejack wasn't imported and brought in from elsewhere. It was truly made right there. So anyway, a great story, and how I, brought gold into the narrative, and which was really started out to be moonshine. But I tell you what, those are the people, the millionaires back in the gold rush days, whether it was the California gold rush, the Klondike gold rush, the Dahlonega, Georgia gold rush. The majority of the ones that came away with the money were the ones. Folgers Coffee got their start in the gold fields, selling coffee. Levi, pant maker, who didn't need a really tough, and boy, they were a really tough pair of jeans, and that's where that fortune started. There was a hardware manufacturer, the one selling the shovels. What miner didn't need a shovel? And then the shovels break. So then you had and everyone needed to build some kind of home. So the guy that could set up on the same creek with the water wheel, and I actually have a 6-foot working water wheel I had custom built by a water wheel maker in North Georgia. Oh my God, it's an amazing thing. I at 2 different homes ran water gravitationally fed over it, and one of them I hooked up a generator. There was enough weight power, one of these little generators you can get from Dayton Motor, and powered the little lights that went along the stream. And I don't know, I could have easily ran a cord back to the house, but it was fun doing it that way. But the first guy to hook up a water wheel on, well, actually there'd be a couple that would find the best place and drop in the river that they could create a water wheel scenario. Well, what it was the water wheel for? To run the sawmill, which, made those people a fortune, and or also the grist mill, the person that ground the flour. So you had these other ancillary businesses that were related to the discovery of gold, and the percentage of the people that really made the money were not actually the miners. Remember, it was just a 40 feet length of stream you could have per claim. So if your 40 feet didn't have any gold, then that's where claim jumping can come in, and adds another element to the story of how the West was won, huh? So anyway, I like, I obviously like those kind of things, and they really go with what I still like to do, and that's prospect and be able to bring the actual rocks and minerals up from the ground. And I was actually just describing and telling someone that at an early age, when I was actually learning stone cutting, cabochoning at like 12 or 13, and then had silversmith down, I remember making the goal that I wanted to be able to go out and prospect and mine my own gold, alloy it, and then learn how to craft a ring using my own gold. Then I wanted to prospect and find my own gemstone, learn how to cut that stone, and put it in the ring that I created. All the elements being pulled from the earth myself. Now, by way of talent and ability, I probably achieved that by the time I was 19 or 20. Except for the finding of the gold. Trace amounts I found in Colorado, enough to make a ring? No. I'd probably still be out there if that was the case. But technically, if I got really lucky, I could do that. So there you go. You know what I actually found in Colorado, which was kind of clever? Well, not really kind of clever. It kind of tells you just kind of how dangerous situations were, was when I was panning in one creek that fed, the if you go west of Denver, you can go up to Central City and Blackhawk, which are were mining communities at true Wild West. It still looks like Wild Wild West. They put gambling in there, which really brings a lot of people. Before, it was kind of a quaint kind of people that went up there, and they were still mining along the road. Well, that heavy, strong gold district up there, and the creeks that fed into it also held gold. I found mercury, liquid mercury. Now, imagine the mercury that was traveling through the stream and bumping into little bits of gold, because when mercury hits gold, and that's why they used it, it creates what's called an amalgam, because very few things combine with gold instantly. Mercury is one of the ones that will. That's why it's dangerously used in Brazil with the garimpeiro miners, the illegal miners out there. They're processing using mercury. I actually have a mercury retort. In other words, basically talking about stills, we'll segue back to stills and mercury. I have a safe way to be able to pull the gold out of mercury and save the mercury. In finding that mercury, I thought, wow, all this time that mercury has been in that stream gathering up, and every time it might have bumped into, because mercury's heavy, it's going to sink to the bottom. If it hits other gold little flakes, it is combining with that gold. That those balls of mercury could be high gold content bits of mercury. And it just also told me, though, the dangers that they were willing to use, because mercury does and is poisonous to the food chain system, horribly so, and can affect a lot, have a lot of adverse health effects. But they would use it anyway because it was the cheapest, easiest way. So when it combines with it, all you then have to do is heat the mercury. It's easy to drive off the mercury. It's in liquid form at room temperature. So it has a low boiling point and evaporation point. And when it evaporates off the mercury, it leaves what's left by way of the gold. And the vapors, that killing miners, yeah, they try to hold their breath or whatever, but it doesn't work. So many people, the vapors are dangerous. So they're not recovering the mercury. Mercury's not cheap. That's why a mercury retort is a system where you can distill out, get the gold, and then the mercury converts and cools back into a liquid. So anyway, a little interesting information, because I have all the equipment it takes to do all kinds of mining and the know-how to do that. But it was just pretty interesting. By the way, the mercury I found out there, I ended up giving to someone else. I didn't have a safe way to heat it or process it. I wasn't going to take it into where I worked as a goldsmith and do it there without proper ventilation. At the time, I didn't have the mercury distiller. I was only 20 years old. So I never know. I'll never know what was in there, but I can guarantee some gold was in there. Okay, so we're going to start off the comments. We have a very sad member of the gem and mineral family amongst us has suffered another loss in her family. And so for those of you, and many of you, most of you have been watching this show for the 6 years that we have been doing this show. Then I was 9 years on the live show at Gem Shopping as well. So there's been a lot of you clients that have been with me for that entire length of time or close to it. And one of the long time clients, not just of this show, but of Gem Shopping in general, is Jan and her husband Dennis and her son. Well, she lost her son, if you can remember. It's been, a couple years, the way time flies. And she has now lost her husband. So I hope she doesn't mind, but I'm going to read. There's one to everyone, and then she had sent me a note, and then we'll cover the comments. So, just heartbreaking. So this is from Jan. Jan says, "Hi, Shawn. It's just me again. I tried watching your show yesterday, but the pieces you showed weren't what I meant." And this is in reference to a malachite she was looking for. "I went back a few months, how time flies, and it was on 612. She gave me the item number. It was the crystallized Congo malachite piece. And yes, Miss Jan, I know that piece so well. I think Miss Gabby actually is the one that got it. It was extremely rare to even be able to offer that. Without a doubt, I offered it well below the market value of, to find something like that. I'll keep my eyes out. I currently don't have anything like that, and I know you don't mind even just a small piece. And I know if there was even any way to do it safely, which of course with those fragile crystals there isn't, that I know Miss Gabby and her heart would allow a piece to be extracted from there, just because I haven't seen anything else like that. So I will keep my eye out for that. It was double-sided and also out of my price range. That's the piece I tried to explain. I'd love to have a small-sized piece if that's able to do. The androdite emerald cut gem I still can't locate, but that malachite is the one I must have until you show me another. I don't want you to worry about me. Dennis's dog Blondie is here with me. He calls her spoiled princess puppy when my daughter watches her for us. He was here at home with me on hospice. His cancer spread like a wildfire, impossible to control with medication. He told me once he wanted to die in my arms, but next to me in my bed. But Shawn, he learned so much from you. I'll try to get through this. But Shawn, he learned so much from you, and that bonded us better together. He really enjoyed waking up Monday to watch and enjoy you and be in your company." Wow. He would say, any day you wake up above the ground is a good day, right? He also knew that dying is easy. It's life that's the hard part. Losing my son, then my dad, and now the love of my life, sharing the same place we all dream of seeing in our next life. Hugs to you, Shawn, as many as you want, and hope your home gets back to normal soon. Sending you love always, Jan. I can't express how thoughtful and meaningful that was to me, and I hope the club doesn't mind me reading it to all of them. I'm sure they send their prayers and love and hugs. She sent me an additional note. She said, "Hi, Shawn, this is Jan. I have some news to share. Dennis has crossed over on Saturday. He's okay. He's no longer in excruciating pain, and he's with his father and my dad and my son, Josh, who he helped me raise him 30-something years ago, and a ton of his friends who left years before him. I can't say he's in a better place, really, but better than the hospital. His spirit is and will always be with me and Blondie, his dog, the spoiled princess puppy. But I will continue watching. Not sure if I can afford to move more of your stuff here, but I'll do what I can. He did leave me some money for you. I'm sorry, I thought you might want to know. Hugs from both of us, and another one just 'cause I know you love your hugs." I do. My son gives, finally is let down the wall and is able to really embrace me. And it feels good because he's, he's just strong, Army. Miss Jan, I can't say enough words about how I'm sure all of us feel for you. and to know that he actually really that the show helped the two of you bond better together. Wow. That's beyond complimentary. I'm not even sure if there's a word for it, but love. And we embrace that love. I embrace that love, and I send it back your way as well. And I know when your son passed, and boy, yeah, you have been through it. So certainly will see if I can find any of your requests. And as a matter of fact, today I do have, in the andronite garnet department, I don't know, you just need to tell me if it was a demantoid or not. I do have an amazing iridescent garnet, a before and after. It's from a personal collection. It's a faceted stone, so I have it set aside for you when I show it today, if that's something that you think you may want in your collection, since you requested it and had lost the other andronite, but I'm just not sure what type of andronite it was. So I wanted to say that. And yeah, hugs and prayers to you. And wow. Yeah. Not a better compliment I don't think I have ever had in the over 50 years I have been doing something that would be something you get complimented for. So thank you. All right, so we go on. The two questions we had to the show were from last week. What two basic elements make up quartz chemistry? In other words, I think we covered corundum, ruby, and sapphire before, Al2O3. So when you see it written like that, that means 2 atoms of aluminum, 3 atoms of oxygen. And that's all it is. You put those together and you have corundum. That's why it can be made, synthetically and whatnot now. The answer being silicon and oxygen. Remember, I've always said SiO2. That's all it is, SiO2. That means 1 atom of silicon, 2 atoms of oxygen. And if silicon sounds familiar, well, Silicon Valley in California, where, so chip makers and the chip computers, all that have a lot. Silicon has a lot to do with that, hence the name. And sand is silicon dioxide, and that's how it's pronounced, SiO2. So it would be pronounced in chemistry-wise as silicon dioxide. So the second question was, what element affects the color in peridot? So, peridot is made up of magnesium primarily, and it is a and this is why quartz ties into it, actually, because its end chemistry is SiO4, so silicon and oxygen. The only other thing different is add magnesium and you have peridot. But you start adding a little bit of the impurity of, what made it different from the Burma peridot? See, this is what I do. When Raven asks me a question about something, I'll never just tell her the answer. I will give her information for her to come up and derive the answer from the information given. So I even showed and did I think a wonderful way to demonstrate the difference in color of the Burma peridot and the other peridot I had, which was more yellow. And the Burma one was not drawn to the neodymium magnet at all. But the other one, the trillion-shaped one, which had more yellow in it, definitely had a drag effect. And thus, what is commonly magnetic? Well, iron. Iron, not the addition of the impurity of iron into the chemical formula, or even enough so that it's part of its chemistry or as a trace element, is enough that the magnet will react, and it's enough to start leaving more of a yellow tone behind. So iron creates the yellowish tone to it, proven by the Burmese peridot that was much more green and did not have a reaction to the magnet. Okay, so here we go. Miss Gabby, hello everyone. Love those little rock-toting donkeys. That was Barbara who won last week. Well, I'm pretty sure my friend Miss Barbara doesn't own a burro. I'm pretty sure she lives in one burro. What a great play on words. You know, they call like districts up there boroughs. And so how creative. Good job. LOL, she writes. Heading to Alaska next week. Wow. And sure, I'm looking forward to much cooler and colder weather. And Shawn, we were in Flowery Branch when that storm hit week before last, and I can confirm it was a bad one. Not as much damage as you sustained, but the newly replaced screens on the porch are going to have to be replaced again. Feel your pain. And so where she lives, Flowery Branch, is really just towards, well, depending on where you're at, right on Lake Lanier, right near it, and not far away at all when you consider how big the world is. Thank goodness we were only out of power for a short time. Yeah, we were out for like 3 days. It was horrible. Let's see. Looking forward to next week's show. I have 3 of your scolocytes already, so don't show any nicer ones, okay? LOL. Trivia, silicon, oxygen, and iron. P.S. I like chemistry, my minor in college. Withdrawing unless it is another burro. Love, Miss Gabby. Well, you would have won, opting out there. Yeah, a minor in chemistry. Wow, that's awesome. And impressive. So when I tell you that I was a chemistry 2 teacher's assistant in my story, then you have me beat indeed. Cindy in Pennsylvania. Hello, Rock family. I'm your captain. Although I'm feeling, I won't sing. I'm pretty sick. Remember, I did sing that a little bit last week and challenged anyone to see if they knew what song I went to. And Miss Cindy got it. She was probably just another little old flower child there. Grand Funk Railroad. Can't say Grand Funk Railroad without We're an American Band blasting in my head. And so when I said that to Raven, she got it stuck in her head. Because, of course, we're all from that era. Shawn, love the show today. In the midst of watching, had a storm blow through and no power for 4 hours. Then had to reset all the electronics in the house. 4 hours? That'd have been a cakewalk. But still, it really, even 4 hours, really shows you how dependent you are and how prepared you need to be for extended period of power losses. You know, like, keeping the phone charged and a generator that I need. So let's see, Cindy, silica and dioxide. Oh, let's see, dioxide. Could that count? We were looking for elements. See, that's why I write this down with 2 basic elements. And you mentioned a molecule. So I gave you credit for getting it with kind of like one of those A minuses though, because we were looking for oxygen. SiO2. Yes, the O2 would be chemically derived as a dioxide, but as looking for elements, that would be a molecule more so than an element. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, good job. Everybody have a wonderful week. Anthony in Massachusetts says, hello all, another great show. Yes, Miss Barbara is my alter ego. I got a kick out of it when you crossed our comments. Although I wish I knew half what she knows about rocks and gems. That is true. Miss Barbara is, she's pretty smart. You mentioned your son diving the Blue Hole off Belize. It is an amazing dive site in Lighthouse Reef. Saw my first whale shark there. The hole is cool, but the reef is probably the nicest in the Caribbean. Snorkeling and diving, Mayan civilization, jade and precious stone artifacts have been found off Belize. Worth diving for. The pyrite with the sphalerite crystal cluster. You weren't kidding. When under an ultraviolet light, it looks like it's on fire. Stunning. Really stunning, he writes. That's exactly what I said. So I am so glad, Anthony, that you went and you found the same experience. You would have had no idea that there was that fluorescence because you really didn't see what was creating it. until you light it up in a dark room, and then you can see every little fluorescent spot of crystal. So it is really cool that you felt the same way. Trivia: silicon dioxide, and then magnesium and silicon. Well, you would be right about that. So he has magnesium, silicon, and oxygen. That makes up peridot, but it doesn't make up number one. You had silicon dioxide. Well, that is chemically correct in the way you would describe it, silicon dioxide. But mentioning the elements of the two would have been a better answer: silicon and oxygen. But well done on the peridot. You got the chemical composition right, and then magnesium, which often you would think, but it was iron. And if you just kind of think a little bit more, I really helped with the answer on that, because what experiment did I do? And showed you the use of a magnet in determination of peridot, sometimes or helping with peridot, and even the origin of peridot. So, yeah, I gave the answer there. Miss, but that's pretty cool, though, if you went diving in there. I like I said, I don't scuba dive, but his wife went snorkeling, and she said that, yeah, that was wonderful, the experience, snorkeling. Miss Elisa, let's see. Yep. Miss Elisa, hello, Professor Shawn, the lovely Raven, GSN crew, and Rock family. I hope everyone has been doing well during these hot summer days. Dave, your camera skills are the best for showing details. Shawn, your story about the Tommyknockers really had my heart pounding. That was a great story of an awesome adventure. We were actually talking about that adventure driving in this morning again, of just how it was adrenaline pumping. I'm probably the least, but for her, not having experience, she'd been back in the mine shaft, like the Ruby mine, but never in a situation as dark. The setup, it was really foggy that night, and it was like out of a horror movie. So when the mountain groaned one too many times, and she had gone deep. We'd went hundreds of feet back in there, several curves. Yeah, it was far enough for her. She really went about twice as far as I thought she would. So I have to give her credit. I just stayed silent, and I wondered if she was hearing those noises the mountain makes. I didn't want to spook her and point them out. So once I knew she was ready to turn around, I said, "By the way, have you heard this?" She goes, "Yes, I was wondering what that was." So I explained the whole story to her, and it was the perfect environment to hear that noise. Let's see. Okay, back to Miss Elisa. I have been in a mountain and heard it groan before, but never a Tommyknocker situation. I can only imagine. My answers to this week's question: silicon and oxygen. Then she writes out silicon dioxide and SiO2. She covered all bases. Well done. And then number 2, iron. All right. My favorite item of the week was the foiled back diamond from the 1800s. That was really rare and special. My kids are going back to school already. I can't believe how fast the summer went. Have a great week, everyone. Lisa. Yep, they're going back to school around here also. And that's okay with me, except traffic is terrible for it. But you got the answers all perfectly right. I think you're did very well. Congrats on that. Then Miss Barbara in Brooklyn. LOL. Being called a smarty pants by you is a gift enough, Professor. And it's okay that my tardiness caused me to miss out on the 3-carat Russian Demantoid prize, since I have a 107 round with horsetail inclusion in my collection. You see how I read it like she probably meant me to, like she wrote it. I was teasing her about being late, that because she missed out then on, she would have won the trivia gift. So, of course, in jest, I said the trivia gift just happened to be a 3-carat horsetail, which, of course, is a very valuable stone. And that's where that joke. But then she throws one back at me and tells me she already has a 107, which in the demantoid world is huge. And to tell you the truth, mine that I have set aside, beautiful stone and nice horsetail inclusion, is only 59 points. What can I say? She has a bigger one. So well done. It's so funny about the horsetail inclusion situation. It's the first time I've ever known where people want an inclusion in their stone, and the more prevalent it is, right smack up under the table, the better. Which of course cuts down on brilliance and dispersion and all kinds of other things. Demantoid means diamond-like, meaning it has a high dispersion. It won't even register on a refractometer. And people want the horsetail inclusion. So what kind did I set aside for myself? One with a horsetail inclusion, of course. What you think? That's my birthstone. We're gonna get what's in. Let's see. All right, your search for the elusive item number was successful. I got a call from customer service on Friday seeking payment for my Wyoming petrified wood. It's already in the post and I expect it today. Thanks. Oh yeah, I did. We tracked that baby down. The exploits of Mel Fisher and Nuestra Senora de Atocha made all our lustful treasure-seeking hearts race. You can still invest and receive a portion of the gold, silver, and emeralds found within the year, and dive the wreck if you want to. See the Mel Fisher Museum site online. Oh, I know, the emeralds are what gets me, and when I see those big chains, and the bot, like in Thailand, is a type of chain, and it's called a bot chain. Well, for a long, long time, remember, gold was at a set price. It wasn't fluctuating every day like it is now. So it was set one time for $17 an ounce, and one time I think like $35 an ounce. So when we went off the gold standard and let it float free, then it was different. But prior to that, links would be made out of an even weight, a specific weight, and they would call it a bot chain. And you would pay. You would literally take a link off your bot chain and pay with gold. And especially in the mining communities where they couldn't always necessarily convert gold to cash, they just, why not? Gold is such a traded commodity for money still worldwide. So yeah, can you imagine how much silver and gold they found on that? It still boggles my mind. Yes, a hit of pure oxygen is better than tonic than a cocktail. We were talking about how pure oxygen, our atmosphere we breathe is only 28% oxygen. Yeah, put a mask on. That's what first thing anybody in a medical situation, anything they do. So you can actually buy the little oxygen bottles. Anybody can for that reason if you need it. I just happen to have 5 4-foot-high bottles of oxygen. And it's funny. Oxygen is oxygen, right? So if you have an industrial oxygen bottle with oxygen in it, it's one price. But if you have it in that nicely painted bottle that says, medical oxygen, around it, oh my goodness. Air. And all you're doing is buying air, pure oxygen, and versus industrial, and it's so much more expensive. And there couldn't possibly be anything different in it that I can see. So, anyway, it would show up actually. If it was tainted in any way as a goldsmith, when I mix oxygen with my propane, I have done this so long, I know exactly the color that the flame should be. Any other impurities entered into that flame or into the gas would create a different color. That's what creates all the unusual color in fireworks, or like strontium and all these other elements. Anyway, sweet. I saw that picture that you did, Miss Barbara, with the donkey that you got. What a great place to display it. So very neat. And I also like the geodes too. Sweet Donkey with Emerald Crystal Prize. Well, I wouldn't say all of those are emeralds, but there are some emeralds there, and some may be a little bit of green dyed quartz, I think, but it's a treasure nonetheless. No donkey associations, but I do like the Colombian emeralds. I will have to opt out of the prize for trivia for a while. Full disclosure, another sales channel were the folks who lured me back into an old interest in geology. Used to market imperial hessonite, piggybacking on the pale garnet similarity in color saturation to imperial topaz. That's why it looks so familiar. Yeah, I have used that term before, even though it shouldn't really be used, imperial hessonite, but it's because of other marketers creating this market, people familiar with that word and want that word associated with the hessonite. So, you know, I just ride that with the connotation like I usually just did and shoot down the reason why I am actually using the word imperial hessonite. But it does look similar, but it doesn't have any of the secondary pinkish tones or sherry tones that to me a true imperial should have in at least one direction. But anyway, have more saturation in the colors that they are. But for garnet, it does look the closest thing to imperial topaz. And yeah, I know they went with imperial hessonite and still doing it. So actually that was why, and I knew why you had said imperial and topaz. I think Brad was the person who won the old foil diamond silver challenge. Yes, it was. I remember that. As to the trivia, for fun only, opting out, silicon and oxygen make up the Si2 of quartz and more iron content than magnesium in the formula gives the desirable yellow-green to peridot. Of course, peridot's name, if you also see it as forsterite, that's another one of its names. And even, you know, it belongs to the olivine series, so it can even be called olivine, but it travels through a series as the more iron is added to peridot, then it becomes phaolite, which is a Fe instead of a magnesium, it's iron in the composition. So chrysolite too. Chrysolite, if you see that used as peridot, that was another name that was used as well. And you know, actually, St. John's Island in the Red Sea, still, you can find some peridot there. It was one of the oldest peridot sources. They think that was used for the ones found in Egypt and the surrounding area, which would make sense because peridot's on that island. So how cool is that? I would like to have something from something where it's so exotic as that. Well, keep cool, all. She also says, really like the definition of the trilobite pair and happily found they were still available. Yippee. I know they were just the right size. So congrats. I do have that bigger pair behind us. Travis in Indiana. Hi, Shawn. My first scuba trip was also to Belize. The Blue Hole is amazing. All of the barrier reef is really cool. I know, and Belize is a safe place really to go. Trivia answer, silicon and oxygen are what make up quartz. I would normally say chromium makes things green, but your magnet proves peridot gets its color from iron. Good answer. I would be interested in the scolicites. Okay. And I will be keeping the one I have. Thank you for a great showing. Have a great week, Travis in Indiana. Okay, Travis. And anybody else that's interested, I will prepare a couple of primo scolicites. So I take it that you may want to step up. I'll look at all the ones that I've offered, even though Miss Gabby doesn't want me to bring one up, but maybe I'll have a couple. I don't know. I want to surprise you. I have to do a little research, but I am definitely going to show everybody museum quality scolicite for real. All right, so that is it. When we have the same answers, which there wasn't too many, so put them in the hat, assign a number, draw a number, and this week that winner is Travis in Indiana. Congratulations. Let me show you what you won. Travis, you have won behind door number 1. Look at this. This is something that I actually tumbled. And to a point, and then in looking at it, I put just a light polish on the surface with some diamond. And when I did that, I discovered, look at that. All right, what have I said before about crystals? And the chatoyancy can often tell you and lead you to whether they're going to have a star effect or not. And one of the other things that you look for, sorry about that, David, why not moved it out of focus, is not only, look at that, that's what we call a bronze star, that really neat color. Now, I call this a black sapphire, but the color actually has a little bit of a pink or a dark coppery type of color in it. Now, let me show you here, let me get the angle right. You're gonna see a 6-sided crystal. Look at this. There's one flat side. Here's another. Here's another. It comes along here, here, and here. There's the 6-sided seed crystal, original crystal. So that accompanied with the chatoyancy across there. If you domed this, there is a good chance that it would cut a star. Or leave it just as a really neat specimen for a monster size black sapphire. Here we go on this end. I can, you can turn it at a particular angle. There we go, and catch, there it is, the chatoyancy. Ah, look at that. Okay, see that 6-sided crystal? I know you can. It's really obvious on this one. So that's showing you that there is central crystal growth around the origin of the 6 sides, which is what you would need for the rutile to line up and create a star. So, very cool piece, and look at that. That is a really neat thing to see defined like that with that chatoyancy across. It actually, look at that, displays itself at that angle as well. And I tumble it. All right, that was free. Let me tuck that away. We'll be right back with the start of the show. Got some great things. Check out those. One we're starting this out with is something you have not seen. This is one of the amazing large size. Look at that natural Indonesian amber. I have not offered a piece like this ever before. Look at the colors. It reminds me of the Jurassic Park amber. This is the way it looks when it is directly mined. If you've ever seen pine trees, you can see these kind of balls of sap out of them. Well, add 20 more million years to it. That's what you get. I'm going to try to get to as many pieces as I can with the time I have. So that one, a deal, $48. Only $48 is, there's not going to be another one that large being offered. So take advantage of it while you can. Next, look at this. This is item 1129223, and this is going to be something else that you would think that you would see them more often, but you actually don't. And what it is something that just the everyday person would love to have and show, and that's just an amazing quartz crystal. Look at that. Look at that. So you can see, look at how perfect the hexagonal shape is to it. You can always hunt around in these for in hydros, other inclusions, and you can, what I like about this is just natural, non-polished faces, the way it came out of the ground. By the way, you can clean up some of the discolorations, and oh, look at that. Or another crystal laid against that. See, I love that stuff when it's not polished. That, by the way, can come off. I didn't do it. Sorry about that. That's just where an old sticker was. Probably the Made in Brazil sticker, which I think you should leave there. This actually is almost near colorless. Price on this guy, you're going to love it. It is only, wow, $15. $15 on that. Now,
It was just $12 a second. You had it for 12 seconds.
all right, make it $12. What a deal. Next item is going to be, this is a set aside for Miss Jan. 1128523. 1128523. Now, this was something I had put together for my own collection, and it was, of course, my birthstone. But she said, Jan, you said you lost an androdite, but you didn't tell me if it was a demantoid. We're trying to figure it out, but I don't have a demantoid. What I do have is one of the finest androdite cut and rough specimens you will have ever seen. This stone is remarkable. It's there's only one other faceted one that I have, and that is going to be one that I'm keeping. The colors in this are dynamic. The faceting of it really brings out colors in this garnet, in this particular garnet. Look at that. Are pretty much every color of the rainbow, hence of course its name, rainbow garnet. Look at the sides, and each different look at that. Look, so see how it changes even colors. They say it rivals the finest of the Finland labradorite. Look at that. This is a beaut. So we'll give you Jan 2 days if you want it. If after on Wednesday, if it's not sold, then anybody else that wants it, have a stab at it. Did you see the colors on this one particular face? They just really, well, there's the end, and the side of.
Those in the other clip show.
Okay.
Let's show those a little later. Say that. We'll show these.
You know what? I tell you what. We'll show these a little bit later. Got something saved so that I want to get to. Make sure we do.
Yeah.
Well, that has to be a special stone. Look at that. Modified Portuguese cut. Modified meaning the pavilion is cut just as a schematic should be on the Portuguese cut. The top is a standard oval, brilliant. The combination of the two give you an incredible look. That is a Ceylon sapphire, just under a carat, saving you a little bit of money for not hitting that carat mark. And let me just show you the two colors against the black. The black doesn't make any difference. It just helps you see inside of it a little better. You still get the same, that in a stone like this, dispersion and brilliance in color. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Wow. How about this? Special opportunity. 95 points, $95, only $100 a carat. A fraction of what that should be. Let's take a look at a kind of another quirky item. Let's look at item 1059722. And whoever got that jar was lucky enough to get that jar of opal leftover shards from a cutting factory. Well, this is one of the things that you can do with them. And look at that, opal mosaics. And these happen to have squared off patterns. Oftentimes they just use freeform shapes. That's what I did in taking special courses on how to do mosaic opals. Oh, when I was a wee lad of probably 12 or 13 years old. The set of 3 of these, that's why it's going to be so special, because it's an opportunity of only $21. $21 for the 3. Wow. Next I have 112. This is phenomenal. 112 9323. I was actually, yeah, this is one of those special pieces that came out of that drawer. The drawer that I hadn't opened in a while, and when I did, wait till you see what's coming up in the weeks ahead, if I can get enough of my homework done to figure it out. Look at this. This is one of the finest little thumbnail size specimens that I have had of aquamarine, shoral tourmaline, and the white is either microcline or albite for a feldspar. That's what they're found with in the Rongo Mountains. Look at these other additional crystals on the side. This is a stunning piece for color, for clarity. Look at the clarity in, look at that. Look at that. And color, natural color. That is the other special thing about that. And of course, when you look on the outside, you can see the 6 sides to the shape that barrel has. And beautiful black shoral tourmaline. Makes a wonderful natural base. Look at that. And then look at the crystals of the feldspar. Just very nicely aesthetically placed. Wow. Price on this guy, only $118. Then I have a Made in America 112-8823. And I had offered these years ago, but then I pretty much sold everything that I wanted to. I decided to release one more. It's going to come in a suspension box, but outside of that suspension box, let me show you what you're going to get. Look at this Slaughter Mountain material, the finest location for a fire agate in the world. Fire agate is a type of chalcedony. It is colored and by limonite impurities, and wow, look at that. Look at that. It has a wonderful botryoidal formations in it. And the nice thing about this, of course, it's sold by the carat as well as other gemstones, but in so often the case in something like this, the stone, you end up paying for a lot of weight underneath. Not the case. This is, you don't need thickness for strength in the case of chalcedony agate like this. Look at that. Look at the blues and greens in there, the really most valuable colors. Look at the polish on it. That's why I had to wipe it down so I could really show off the polish on that piece. With that botryoidal formation, fire agate, that shape lending itself to a wonderful gents ring or ladies. It's not a real pointed pair, so that's why I would make a really nice item for a gents ring. There's the back. It's really nicely cut, just the right thickness, so you get the full size you should get for the weight you're paying for. What a good deal. Price on that is also an amazing opportunity at only $88. Only $88 on that one. All right, so our time is up.
Continuing on, we'll be right back with more. We will be right back.
We have another few moments out here, so we'll be right back with more. What I'm showing you right now, this, let's see, it's in the description that you'll get, and it says Shawn. So when you, the ones, of course, that have my name in the description, meaning it came from my own personal collection. And obviously, when you see these, they're on a level different than others you might have seen. All right, first, one thing, look how big they are compared to my hand. All right, so many times the others aren't. That's just not where. That's just a small part of it. Now, I think you can probably find stands that would be more attractive. Sometimes I think like those, the clear, I think a wood stand with that might be less noticeable and blend in better with them, or find something else. So anyway, the stands won't be coming with it. But let me show you the rest of this incredible agate. Now, this was actually, I'm going to say mined by my friend John, who had special rights on the Withlacoochee River to prospect in a certain stretch of the river. And what the river is doing right now, it has been cutting down through the sand and all the silica above the original coral heads when Florida was underwater and when the oceans were higher. Coral developed, and then of course when the seas receded, as they receded, the coral heads, rose up out of the water, so to speak, started trapping sand, and that built an island and so on. And then Florida evolved geologically. 25, 35 million years later, the Withlacoochee River comes through, starts cutting a channel down through the overburden of the sand that had built up over all those years, and hits the original coral that over this amount of time, the silica from the sand above it, remember, this is why, yes, I am segueing into exactly what the trivia question was about. You'd think I had a planning manual for instruction, huh? Silicon dioxide, sand. That is what agate is made up of. That is what chalcedony is made up. That is what jasper is made up of. Glass, opal. We could go on and on. Quartz, of course. Simply silicon dioxide. So when you have all that sand and the coral underneath, if everything else is right in the geologic world, that silica will replace the coral, a molecule at a time, and you get agatized coral. And in the case of these, exceptional quality. Look at the blue. When you have that blue lining like that against this incredible quality of agate, that is rare. This is a stunning quality. This is polished. So John, my friend, he has since passed away, but this came from him actually finding these, so he would saw them. This came from the actual person that mined it. It didn't pass through 2 or 3 other hands. And polished them on a flat lap. And you get real lucky when you find one like this, because I'm going to show you still the best part. All right, so when I saw this, I said, okay. And all of you, if you have any agatized coral like this, you need to do the same thing. Take it into the closet. You know what I mean by that. Go and check the fluorescence of it. And all of you should have a black light by now. They're not expensive, at least just for long wave. All right, so I took it into the closet. And as expected, and I think it is Brad that likes the fluorescent material, right around the edge, this entire edge is a lining of chalcedony that lit up the most beautiful yellowish chartreuse yellow just around the edge. You can see this slightly different color, and it is perfectly around it and just glows like a ring. Oh man. So same thing on the other side. So you can see underneath here some of the formation that the agate formed over. Same thing. Here's the part I like the most. Let me show you. Look at this. It still looks like it's alive today. This is one of the best coral head formations that produced a single geode type of fossilization without any other exterior opening. Look at that. Look at the hexagonaria formation to the coral. I mean, 25 to 38 million years old. And, you know, that's why this is when I had all my fish tanks. They loved the things I put in there, from amethyst crystal clusters to, looks like, it was natural coral to them. It looked like the real deal. And so anyway, if you want the best of the best, and the fact that they're fluorescent, we'll turn them around this way. Well, I don't know. Oh, they're 2 different sizes. Maybe that's why they worked. Okay. Oh, let me get that glare off of there. There we go. All right. I have a price that I won't ever be able to find another pair I can offer like that has that coral exterior like that. That is special. Let me see if I get this right. Yeah, $118. Only $118. Exceptional. just exceptional. Now, clock, I always start looking at the clock as the time is running down. All right, item number 112-8723. I'm going to show you something else exceptional I found. This came in an estate collection that I had put up and discovered it in that drawer. Let me show you another. Now, see these are some of the finest agatized coral in the world. And by the way, also in the description is world class. These are world class specimens because for what they are, there's nothing else better they could be than what you're looking at. With the fluorescent chalcedony edge, the coral exterior, that is the best of the best. Now, let me show you one of the other most rarest gem in the United States. And this is the way it came. Look at the label on this. This is really a collector's piece. And crazy rare. So, fire opal, Spencer Mine, Idaho. Anything like that on specimens, just leave them there. Leave them there and continue on. This actually peels off and goes back on fairly easily. Okay, so you can see this one, why I really love this specimen. I showed you some other Spencer opal piece before. I may still have it, the one with the fire in it. This looks like black opal silica. Look at that. Yeah. The rhyolite nodules are very well defined. Look at that. And that's what you see often. And remember, rhyolite is what Mexican opal forms in. Rhyolite is what Ethiopian opal forms in. And Spencer, Idaho opal. Now, look at the opal part. As I turn this around, look how it formed in a nodule. It's just like these other little nodules, except huge. And then you have what was the center, wonderful opal. It's more of a common opal. Whether there's fire in it or not, is yet to be determined. You could sand some of this away and see what's behind there. But even without any kind of precious opal, that's what keeps the price down. The way this is formed in that well-defined nodule formation, or bird's eye type formation, and the center being opal. Wow. But here's what's really special. It is hyalite. Hyalite is opal that fluoresces chartreuse. And it gets the fluorescence from having radioactive elements as impurities in its makeup. So I think in the case of hyalite, it's U-238, which is just an alpha emitter. So I could easily check this. So I went to the closet with the fluorescent light, and absolutely, it lit up with all kinds of little bright, right in this opal, beautiful, neat chartreuse specks and areas. So I thought, okay, what's going on there? So of course, having the Geiger counter, the Geiger, I measured the ambient reading from the bottom and from the side, and it was just no reaction different than the room. But when I put it right on top of where the fluorescence was, it went from an average ambient count per minute of around 30 to 50 counts per minute to an area range of 50 to 70. So, which of course is completely, negligible. A banana or Brazil nut, has that. But it told me that yes, the fluorescence I was seeing is hyalite, and that it is the isotope that was doing it, and that's really cool. That's really cool. This specimen, you get all that. I have an incredible deal on this particular piece at only $98. Only $98 on that. Grab it. Okay, item number. Now, this was the one that I had first had thought about for Jan. So, Jan, I'm going to give you first refusal on this. Item 112-8523. Again, not knowing exactly what kind of andradite garnet you were looking for. And after 2 days, if you don't get it, this will be available to anyone, let's say by Wednesday of next week. If you want, anybody else wants it, then you can go ahead and purchase it. But I'm going to instruct inventory to set it aside for you, Miss Jan, since you mentioned it first, and I'm not sure if you're looking for a demantoid andradite. If you are, let me know. I'm not going to have much luck with that, but the other demantoid I could put together here for you that's faceted is a stunning, what I call a before and after collection. And yeah, this is amazing. So what creates, let me show you. Take a look at this. It's a rough crystal and a faceted one. Look at that. And beautiful, beautiful bronze colors. We'll take these out in a moment, but let me show you. Look, see the colors on the piece of rough? I went through them all, and when I saw this one and had that faceted one, I thought, wow, let me set that aside to do a before and after collection. And in the description, that's how I have it labeled for you right there, before and after collection from the Coast Mine. The mine, GIA says it was only discovered in 2004. It was closed by 2005. Other sources say it was discovered in 2002 outside the magnetite mine that it is associated with. Now, what creates the finest quality in the iridescence in the world in these Japanese garnets are thin, lamellar, laminated layers of alternating thickness between andradite and grossular. So there is some other inclusion, other impurities in the garnets, like so many of the garnets intermingle. So you have a little bit of grossular mixing with andradite in separate layers. So you have different chemical makeups with different layer thicknesses. And that is creating diffraction, and it is also creating another form called thin film interference. That is what's like oil on water. So when you see the rainbow colors from oil on water, that's thin film interference. The other kind of interaction you get that will produce iridescence is diffraction of light between different compositions, and that is the case both of this, and maybe that's why it's the finest in the world. You get thin film interference and light diffraction in this due to the different widths and composition. Look at the facets on this. Look at them on the side as well. This one is a carat 74. The piece of rough that, here's the bottom of it. The piece of rough weighs 5 8.03 carat. And I'll show you that in a minute, but let me finish showing you. Look at the sides on this. Oh, look at that copper colors. Well, depending on what angle you have it. And that's what the GIA article, just search for rainbow garnet and GIA article on it, and there's an incredible article done on it, and it easily says it's the finest in the world. Look at the colors. Look at that. Look at that. Go from blue to that maroonish red. Oh my. Wow. Wow. That's why this is in my own collection. And look at that one. Look at the crystalline growth lines at the different colors. And if you read that article, it explains how all of that takes place. Now, it's kind of a technical article, but it's certainly understandable. Look at the color there. So there's every face on this. This is one of the finest of the faceted ones. Look at the color, because every face is exceptional. And if you're talking androdite, this would rank right up there in the iridescent androdite world as the finest that you could really, look at that, ever expect really in a faceted gem, because you take a gamble with the different angles. Then now look at this piece of rough. The glass fooled me. Let me show you this piece of rough, because this is a combination set because of the two colors going so well together. This is a large, look at that. Look at the colors in that. Wow. Crystal face. The different look at that, different angles bringing out. Oh, wow. Wow. I mean, that's really all I can say is wow. You know, they closed it down by 2005 because they were being inundated by rockhounds in Tonkawa village in the Nara prefecture. People were going to jail. They were serious about no more trespassing and mining. Look at the colors on that. And so there is no more. Look at the purple. This material went from available to non-existent in trying to find it. And, you know, that's why to all of you, look at the colors. If you get a chance, don't leave any of these on the table. Look at that. That is amazing, amazing, amazing. So here is a first chance, because I'm not sure exactly what you were talking about, Miss Jan, and after your suffering, if it's, you know, certainly, I'm going to make you a fantastic opportunity if you can swing it. See, the colors are the same or close to the same, yet they're all so much different when you get to looking at all the different angles. And this was a different weight right there, so you could probably clean that up a little bit with a sharp X-Acto blade. But anyway, I have a price on the set of the two pieces as close as I can do would really be only $388. $388 on that, and it is extremely rare, both of them, just extremely rare in the marketplace, and getting nothing but more and more rare. The GIA article even mentions as much, and that was written some time ago in regards to them. Now, this next one, 112-8923, I am going to set this aside also for Anthony, because you had requested and missed it and had hoped for it, and there was a combination rainbow garnet and Stanley Butte garnet, and you were trying to complete your set of garnets. So I don't have, I think, but like one of these left, but that's all right. I'm great at sharing, especially when it comes to gems and minerals. And I'm going to give you first chance at this if you want it. So Anthony in Massachusetts, I have this set aside for you if you just want so this is the green demantoid. This is the green demantoid that if you cut, it'll be so diamond-like. And it is a, look at this. This happens to be an exceptional crystal as well. Beautiful crystalline shape. So look at that face, and then you can see as I backlight it, look at the clarity. I mean, for andradite, think about how demantoid looks, how included demantoid looks, and you want a horsetail inclusion in demantoid. So you can see that would actually facet a gem. That would be really rare. A Stanley Butte, Arizona andradite faceted gem. Wow. All right, so for you, Mr. Anthony, only $44. Again, I'll wait 2 days, and then if it's still available after 2 days, that will anybody can call in and take advantage of it, because that's a neat item that again is very difficult to find. All right, now let me show another opportunity on item 809718. Now, we had sold another set of these before, and I'm going to offer another one because they are such a good value. This is the fossilized insects, and this is a 3-piece set. Now, look at this. Look at how beautiful that is. And so this is in, well, another language, but I used different codes in my head to remember what was what. And a WAZ, a W-A-Z, how I remember what that stands for is it was a cockroach. Yep. How many of us just squish cockroaches? And that's why I was thinking, well, it was a cockroach, and that's how I remember. So W-A-Z, there's your cockroach. Look at this. Look at how well this is. Now, this is 125 million years old. This is the Santana Sierra Formation in Brazil. So very similar to the Green River Formation in Wyoming. And it you can see by the different layers of color here, the different seasons. There's only 2 seasons in these areas in the tropical forest. There's only the wet and the dry season, and you can see that by the different layers of color. So look at that. That, as we look on the back, that's an HEV, which as I look, also, let me show you, it's also going to be right here. So it's right here in the description too. So I made it easy for you. So HEV is a grasshopper. And you know, that's pretty neat. That's pretty neat. Look at that. And then the last one we have is a SCH. And how I remember that one is because this is the exact description I got from the dealers. SCH just means an unknown bug. So how I remember that? Well, SCH stands, of course, spelling school, meaning they need to go back to school to figure out what bug it is. And I promise you, this is exactly how I remembered what letter stood for what. Word association. It works very much. This looks like a moth, you know, a moth, some type of moth. But look at the definition. So that's incredible. That's incredible. All right, so I have this set of 3 pieces that, you know, when you break them down each, it's going to be a incredible opportunity. And I will offer that set for only $44. Only $44 for the 3 pieces. So that's less than $15 each. Wow. Wow. Now, there's so many things I wanted to show and so little time to show it. You will have to come back next show. And I'm hoping I have the time to do everything I want to get to. All right, now, because I found in that drawer a whole, I don't know, but it's going to take me some research because there's some really neat, unique minerals. And really unique. Let's look at item 1109623. I'm going to give you a really good deal on a parcel of diamonds as we come close to running out of time. Look at these. Look at the sparkle and the brilliance. These all came out of one piece, so they match. They match really well. And look at the cut. That's a whole bunch of sparkle going on right there. And so this is the way, if you're ever at a place where you have to take off the lid in front of other people, so you use a tray, you take the lid off like this. You don't take it off like this with that up. Nope, you flip it upside down and you take it off, so when you lift it, the diamonds are in the bottom portion. So it's best, of course, to grade them or look at them in a white type of tray. This tray actually isn't pure white, but it's pretty white. So you want to get them to where you can see some of them on their side, and you get to see more of the actual color if you get away from the brilliance. So you can see there's a little bit of shade of color to these, but it also depends again on what wavelength of light you're looking at them in. Look at that. See what I mean? They don't look like they just did, and that's why. I won't say trickery, but I just did. Jewelry stores, never mind. I use straight fluorescent bulbs that anybody would have in their home. Jewelry stores buy specific lighting that key in on the exact wavelengths of light that diamonds will disperse the best. Believe me, we had their salespeople in us all the time trying to sell us stuff. All right, so here's a batch of good-looking 10 stones, 3 millimeters, carat 10, exactly the weight they should be. So that tells you how well they are cut, because a 10-pointer is really a 2.9 millimeter stone. Really well matched, and I have a huge discount on these. If you want them, take advantage. I will offer them at the same lowest price I said I did before. I cannot go lower. It is so inexpensive that, it doesn't matter. $158 for the parcel. And that's a carat 10. That's like 140 a carat. I would have to pay 4 times that much, and I kid you not, 4 times that much. All right, it looks like we're going to have to wrap the show up. Didn't get to much, a fraction of what I wanted to, but there's going to be another day, and it's next Monday. We'll be right back with the trivia. All right, so normally we do trivia, but going to give you a little break this week so you can rest that brain. And also the other thing is, Jan, my heart breaks for you and your family, and I'm sure all of the rest of our rock family does as well. And it just seems a little difficult to be excited or celebrate your horrendous loss. So we're all going to be feeling better next week, and I'm going to have some really neat specimens if I can get them all identified. And in the meantime, Miss Jan, to you and your family, our hearts, prayers, and thoughts out to you and your loss. You've been through a lot. I can relate to some extent. So God bless you. Stay safe. All of you stay cool. And I will look forward to seeing you next Monday.